All right, so we are here taking a look at Climbing Blocks by Stuin, and I will drop a link to that in chat here. We are taking a look at a 1.01 version of the game, which you managed to fix a little bug involving one of the puzzles.
Well, it looks like the text broke in a slightly different way this time, but it's not
Oh,
something that should matter too much.
okay.
Um, so, uh, I did a few small fixes. Actually, this version has like two more puzzles in it. The most noticeable bug that I mentioned on the page was that the text from the sign wouldn't disappear when you walked away.
Oh, yeah.
But it looks like now there's just you're not seeing any of the text other than the first one. So some of these flags should show you text.
Okay.
Um,
Hey, you know what?
None of the text is incredibly important though. So yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's a testament to the level design that I can still figure out what I need to do even without the text. So,
Yeah.
all right. So let's see. I don't know if that's supposed to go down there, but that's what I'm kind of. That's where it goes for now. So yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about your background in game development and your role on this project?
Yeah. So I would have a degree in computer science. I've been making small games through um, most of high school and stuff. Um, yeah. So a lot of the story is around the game engine that I use for this, because this is a custom game engine. Um, I think I spoke on it like last year or year before, was it? Yeah. But I've used this game engine I built this game engine for a specific game jam sort of thing, and then kept on expanding on it and adding new features to it. Um, the important thing this time is that this is the first time it's been used for a side scroller and not a top-down thing. So I had to write an entire physics engine for this,
Oh my
which
gosh,
was interesting.
that's a huge transition. Like that is not trivial to say the least.
Yeah, that that accounts for a bit of the janky platform clipping and the limited amount of. But I think you interviewed me on Rolling Labyrinth a little while ago.
I was about to say, but I clicked onto this and it's like, oh, this looks familiar. And is this the same engine, just much further down the line?
Yes.
Wow.
Uh, I can't say much about the much further down the line. Honestly, a lot of the stuff is approximately the same. It's just the side-scrolling. I added a side-scrolling physics engine.
Like you do.
But like the tile map system is exactly the same. Um, yeah.
Oh man, that is again like not a trivial thing to build a functional side-scrolling platforming physics, and like
Yeah. I hope to incorporate it better into the engine after this so that I can use it in future projects and not have to do that again.
nice. Well done. I mean, it's
There's
yeah.
there's a whole feature set of there's a whole friction system that
Mm.
I wrote a whole friction system with ice and stuff, but there's very few puzzles that use it because I didn't have enough time to write puzzles to actually make use of it.
Right. Yeah, I can understand that being difficult. Like it's you it happened to us as well when we were working on our project where there's there's a charge attack. Like in our game the character has a hammer. If you hold down the button, then you can do a charge attack and you do like several whacks in quick succession, and it's a really great programmatic animation. And like I said, like, oh wow, this has the energy of trying to kill and make sure a bug is dead. But because our game ended up being much more about movement and mobility and not about combat, there's kind of no point to the attack.
Mm.
So yeah, just all to say, like, happens all the time. You end up adding features to a game, and then you don't always have the time to implement them in a jam game, at least.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm really proud of where it ended up.
Absolutely.
How well it ended up working.
So this was both an exercise essentially in building out the engine and then designing the level around it.
Yeah. Actually, like level design is the hard part, but building the levels is pretty easy. So one of the core concepts of this engine is converting ASCII art to full tile maps. So um, one of the other upgrades I did for this is um, improving the size of tile map generation. So um, one of the folders in the zip file, there's a few folders that are just ASCII art. Oh, you've reached the end.
Yay!
Um, a large portion of time was
Oh,
spent tuning the numbers so that the top of the mountain lined up per. Okay, that's. I'm not sure how you climbed that. I'll take a
through
note.
sheer will.
Um, yeah, so there was a lot of number changing very last minute to get the top of the mountain to be in view when you top of the mountain is in the background to
Yeah.
be in view, and to not have the edge of the mountain image be in view when you're at the spawn.
Right.
Those were two very conflicting things. Um, but basically, um, every wow, you're doing very great at breaking my physics. Um,
You're not supposed
but
to be able to get over here.
not really. Um, but yeah, so uh, if you want to look at the game files, there's a whole folder of sections of the map represented as text files, and each character is then just converted to a tile on the map and put on screen.
So is that in
So
the?
yeah, so in Res,
Yeah.
um, there's three folders of it.
Mhm.
There's world, which is just general space filling areas.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, so that file lists out every single sub file that makes up the entire world.
Hmm.
So this is just a JSON file that lists out all the sub files and where to place them in the map. If you open up, for example, the puzzles folder,
Yeah.
and then large pit.
Large pit. Oh my gosh.
So, if you remember the big puzzle with the pit in it, this
Yeah.
is that entire puzzle.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
so F for the flag, H for the ladders, W for the first wooden block, um, little squiggles where the invisible platforms are, underscore
Yeah.
for the button. Yeah. So that is the entire puzzle, all of the collision. Um, the little trees and bushes and flowers are generated based off of this. Um, it has a friction numbers. So I've got a whole list of all the different things each character maps to.
Oh yeah. And then do you have something that inserts like blanks and like these octothorpes like automatically, or do you have to fill this in?
I just did it with a text editor, but I got very good at like multi-line cursors and stuff, so it works very, very well.
Oh man, yeah, that's a
So
great use for that.
yeah, I just lots of copy and paste, lots of just use the same tool I use for code editing. Um, this is also the first game with it split up into sub files.
Hmm.
One of my previous games on itch is The Path Below, which is the first game I made a lighting engine for. Um, and that one has a much smaller map that's just a single text file.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so the world.json file just stitches all of the smaller areas together, with some extra fields for like offsetting, uh, swapping out the tile map for the snow version. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we can see like little previews in the Windows pane over here.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the world file also has like what the signs should say,
Mhm.
how zoomed out you should be, that kind of thing.
Right, right. So it
So
looks
yeah,
like
right
these.
there is the peak of the mountain.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
about
the
to
question
say
marks are the invisible blocks that were supposed to keep you from getting
yes.
over, but apparently you can climb or something.
Yeah, they have collision, and then because they have collision, it means I can get over them, and because I can get over them, it means that I can then clip into the part of the peak over here. So it's kind of a cascading, like you weren't supposed to get here, therefore you weren't supposed to get there, therefore so on so
No,
on.
that's I think that's one issue. That's one issue in multiple places, that you're not supposed to be able to clip into any blocks to climb them.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's just this looks like something you could do on any flat surface, any
which
tall flat
is
surface you could clip into.
it's interesting
Um,
though. So is E the Yeti?
yeah,
Is capital E? Yeah.
yeah. So part of the startup part of the startup sequence is after it's done placing all the normal tiles.
Hmm.
Um, I've got a little script that goes through and says, place a Yeti, place an animated Yeti sprite wherever there's an E. Uh, teleport teleport the player to the first P.
Yeah.
Put an animated flag. Um, I mean, the flag has its own collision to detect when you're standing on it, but there's
Right.
also, but it's animated now, so I just paste a flag entity, an animated flag wherever there's an F.
Nice. Yeah, I'm just sort of running backwards through the game now. Um, so yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about the inspiration behind this game?
Um, I had a very different initial idea on my own. I decided that this larger jam, it would be interesting to try and work with a team. Um, with my own custom game engine, I wasn't sure how viable. I wonder if it's based on friction. I wonder if the okay, climbing is not based on friction, but I wonder if clipping through the walls is based on the friction. Anyway,
Yeah.
um, so uh, I decided for this longer game jam to work with some other people. I didn't. I didn't feel like it would be smart to try and teach someone the entire game engine thing. So I just got some. I just found some people on the Discord to help with art and the music, and hopefully someone to help with level design. That didn't actually turn out great. I think only the pit level. There's like the pit level and one other that I got help for.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. And I'm not sure that the art person I found had the same priorities as me, because they never updated my developer grass textures.
Oh,
Yeah, so all the snow textures are way more detailed than anything else. And it's that makes it extra annoying that I didn't have time to make many levels in the snow area. Um, yeah.
is that the reason, by the way, that this tree is cut off at the beginning? Is because it's based on
Yes.
an ASCII?
So the tent is um so there's multiple layered tile maps. There's the main tile map with the grass and the snow and stuff.
Mhm.
There's a second tile map that does the flowers and the smallest bushes. And it's supposed to do some rocks, but I haven't seen many. Um, and then there's a third one that has larger tiles for the trees. And I also co-opt that for the tent and for the largest bushes. So the tent is pasted on top of the tree tile map at
Yeah.
the after the trees are generated. Um, so I think I caught the case where a bush generates right next to the tent and the bush is cut in half, but I didn't catch the tree case.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and the trees and plants and stuff are generated off of a constant seed, but at the beginning of the game. So it
Nice.
just, however big the world is, and the terrain changes will affect where the trees display. But two runs will have the same trees.
Nice. Yeah, and I think you should like you shouldn't worry too much because I've kind of like gone back through the game now, like intentionally trying to do this clipping, and it seems like there's only like 2 places that I've found that I've been able to do it. So
Yeah, that's so it's good to find. It's something to work on and fine tune. But for creating an entire side-scrolling physics engine over the weekend, I think it's
oh yeah, mission accomplished. Absolutely.
pretty satisfying that I've got. It's hard to do the clipping, even if it's disappointing that there's a way to. Yeah.
Yeah, but not in any way that really breaks the game. Like you can go meet the Yeti friend at the end, which is kind of like an Easter egg more than
Yeah.
anything.
That's probably that's more just a happy accident of how the levels were designed.
Yeah.
It's more of a happy accident that I don't have any walls where clipping is advantageous.
Yeah. Well, there we go. We're back up to the top. So yeah, what do you think was the most difficult problem that you encountered during the jam? And that can either be in the design process or in the engine development process.
I mean, there was this one glitch. If you stand on a slope, on one of the icy slopes, you slide down it a little bit.
Yeah.
There was this one glitch where if you pushed a block down a slope, it would slide for a bit, but occasionally the player or the block would just get stuck on a slope and never move. And it turned out there were like multiple different errors that caused that. There are multiple different things that caused that problem. So yeah, just tracking down all as many of the clipping issues as I can. I think I already said that getting the numbers right for the parallax background was annoying, especially when he gave me the background files like 2 hours before release.
Oh yeah, we can actually see the tiles, what these are built from.
Yeah. He also gave me full character animations right before release. So
here's the backgrounds. It's really neat to be able to do like dig into the file and see all the different bits and pieces that make it up.
Oh. So the background has some parallax layers going on.
Yeah. Really see that here as the camera changes like zoom level.
And then so the ice expansion folder are the few files I added after release. Which is I modified which is this platforming section. Some of the transition between snow to ice was previously a vertical line, which did not look as good. And then I redid one of the puzzles because it was broken.
Mm-hmm.
Or I redid one of the puzzles that I hadn't included in the release.
Right.
One of the nice things about using this tile map using this text file to tile map generator, and especially now that it's so split up into multiple files, is that I've got Git history for all level changes. So if someone deletes a small area, or if I decide to remove an area because it's broken, I can paste it back somewhere else.
Yeah, and I imagine you can even like soft mod the game, right? Like if somebody were to edit these text files, it would just show up as a change in the actual file.
One of the reasons that I put the new stuff in the expansion, in the ice expansion folder, is that technically, I mean, there's some bugs going on and stuff, but I could just send someone the ice expansion folder and the new world.json, and they'd get half of my they get all the changes to the world I've made since.
Nice.
Um, oh, it ended up in there. It doesn't need to be in that folder, but yeah, if you send someone that zip file, they can update half of their release version.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
It's that
so if you
extensible.
wanted to add more puzzles to the game, if you wanted to flip things around, reorder things, it's completely completely there.
That's awesome. So do you?
If you open up tiles.md, that's a guide to which character represents which tiles,
Oh, okay, nice.
which I
Yeah,
gave to the person which I gave to the person who was helping me with the level design. So that's a entire guide to the entire system.
nice. Yeah, so you literally have access to all the tools you'd need to mod it just by editing these files here.
Yeah.
That's super cool. So do you, obviously you've got this like 1.0 version. Are you going to add any other polish or make any other changes after the jam's over?
Um, Not sure how much more I'm going to make that will be visible to the game. I'd probably like to keep designing puzzles and make the game a bunch longer. Um, the more important thing in my mind is modifying my new 2D physics engine to fix some of those bugs, but also modifying it so that I can paste it into other games easier. Because right now it's a bit rushed and a bit this game specific.
Yeah, I think that's inevitable with any game jam.
Yeah.
Because are there any
So
other? Sorry.
yeah. So that and the pasting the world files together into one big map. That thing, uh, that thing and the physics engine both need to be generalized.
Mm-hmm. Do you have
I
any?
did manage to. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I did manage to add a feature to it. I'm not sure it works in all cases yet, but one of the features that I needed for this was that if the tile map gets too large to be rendered, it needs to be split up into multiple render textures.
Mm-hmm.
So that part is already done.
Nice. So, okay, so from that perspective, you're not actually rendering every tile on the screen, every frame. You're rendering everything to a like a canvas essentially, and then that's being rendered on screen.
Yeah. So, as I said, I've got a few layers to it.
Mm-hmm.
So the general way that so I've got one system that takes the world file and reads in all of the sections of the world and pastes them together based on the JSON file. And that is loaded into a big array of characters, basically, of the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I've got like 5 different things that read that and interpret it in slightly different ways. Um, so one of them is the main grass and snow and rain way, and that's a thing that just a list of this character is this tile on the tile map, and um, then I had to add a system that says, hey, if the tile map gets above, I think it's 16,000 pixels wide, maybe you should split it in half. Thankfully, that's just on the rendering everything to a texture
Mm-hmm.
system. So I just have to say, I just have to change the code to say, hey, use a large tile map instead of a normal one. Um, and then I've got like 3 of those because I've got the main one, that's the background stuff and the interactable stuff. And then after that, I use one of the things generates the trees and flowers, and that happens by it starts at the top left corner and it just starts going down and finding the top tile of a bunch of random columns, and then if it's a grass tile or a snow tile, it randomly pops a tree or a flower there.
Mhm.
And then I've got another map. Or no, that's all the tile maps. So and then I've got another thing that runs through and says wherever spawn the crates, spawn the flags, set the starting player position, and then I've got a few things that say, hey, if a character is touching this tile, it has a square collision, or it has a slope collision, or it has a platform collision, and another one that just has percent values for its friction, and so on. Oh, and I've also got one that says, hey, if you're trying to render this tile, feel free to randomly choose one of these 3 tiles after it. So that only shows up at the snow area, but all the snow top layer has like 5 different variations, so it can randomly choose between those automatically.
Nice.
And I was hoping to have the same for the grass and stuff.
Yeah, I do love being able to do that kind of programmatic decoration. Like that's actually for one of my other games, Worlds Within Worlds. People have asked about how I did the decoration of these little like grass strands and these little plants. That's all just placed like in a very simple fashion. Every single 16 pixel block just has a chance of generating a single blade of waving grass, and then it has a like 1 in however many chance of turning into a larger plant. It's simple, and it means that I don't have to place any of that stuff by hand. And if people only play the game once, they don't realize that it's not hand placed.
Yeah, and in my case, the seed is set consistently because I'm not using it for anything else.
Yeah.
So if someone downloads the game and plays it 5 times, they'll see the same trees. But if they decide to modify the files and add their own puzzle, they'll see new trees.
I have gone back through the game and found a few more clips. Like I think it's actually funny. You've got some speedrun potential here because there are a few puzzles that you can now bypass just by using like wall clipping. Because if you just keep jumping at a wall with an overhang. So I'm sorry. Like please don't be disheartened by that. Like it's genuinely a fun thing.
It's very amusing. It's quite something. I mean, that wall is not useful because you have to push the block in there first.
Yeah.
And I did succeed at making pushing large blocks slow you down. The harder part was pushing multiple blocks at a time was weird.
Yeah.
Either the I tried a whole bunch of different routes for that. I think the biggest change I had to make was that originally the blocks detected you pushing them and then moved. But then the blocks were no longer colliding with the player, so it was really hard to tell the player that they were pushing something. So I had to loop that around and move the pushing system into the more into the physics system, or later into the physics system. So the player knew how many blocks they were pushing and knew how many blocks those blocks were pushing and so on.
Yeah, it's something you take for granted, but there's a reason why I don't do pushing block puzzles in my games. It's non-trivial and very easy to screw up in a way that allows the player to like clip into a wall or something. So it's
I mean, I'm pretty sure the wall pushing is completely separate from that.
I just mean like
there probably are some bugs where you can clip into blocks and stuff, but the main ones look to be completely separate.
Yeah, I wasn't even talking about this game specifically. I just mean in games in general, when you allow something that A, has player collision, and B, it can move, it is a recipe for allowing the player to use that to push against themselves, to push them into static geometry and then get out of bounds and whatever else. It is very likely that something will go wrong. So there's a reason I've never attempted it. You're very brave for having done so. And I mean, of the things that I ran into in this game, the pushing blocks by and large worked fine. It's only a few of these like wall clipping things that were ended up being an unexpected way to get out of bounds.
Yeah. There's a good chance that one of those wall clipping bugs is me trying to fix a sliding block bug. Or me trying to fix one of the physics bugs and introducing new ones.
Yeah, well, it happens, but again, this is this is a custom platforming side-scrolling engine that you built onto a top-down engine that is all custom design that was modified in the scope of a game jam. I think you
I've
get a
also
pass.
used this game engine for a solitaire system. It's
Oh my
pretty
gosh,
it's pretty
versatile.
manipulable. You
Yeah.
haven't even opened up the menu. There is also a save button.
Oh. Oh. Well, yes. Yeah, so there is.
I think it just saves your position in the world, but that's plenty.
Nope. There's also a quit button. uh, But yeah, thank you so much for coming on and showing off the game and talking about it and the experience of building it. Is there anything that you'd like to point to? Any socials or any other projects you'd like people to check out?
Honestly, just the itch.io page is pretty good. I've got, let's see, what would be... I mean, I've also got some Minecraft mods somewhere, but I'm procrastinating on updating those, so that might not be the best thing to point to right now. Yeah.
Well, if folks want, they can also check out the highlight from the past interview that I did, because I've got that handy. That was, let's see, 2 years ago. Wow.
Yeah, I don't think I participated in the last year's, but I do not actually remember why.
Mm-hmm. Well, if folks are interested, they can come and take a look at the entire list of every interview that I've ever done. It is all in this Google Sheet, and there are even more in different tabs. So pretty crazy, and I will be updating this as time goes on. I think this is public if I just drop this link in chat. Maybe someone can check it, let me know. But yeah, so I hope everyone looks forward to their...
Yep, confirmed.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, for posterity's sake, or you just want to go and see other people's development journeys, you can always go and take a look at that. But thank you so much for coming on today, and yeah, best of luck with the modifications that you have in mind for the engine, and I look forward to seeing where you take it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Now I have a very easy video to review for a list of physics bugs to fix. That'll be handy.
All right. Sounds good. Well, have yourself a good evening, and yeah, bye-bye for now.
All right, goodbye.